Hey guys, now this was a video that was planned for last week. I was planning to talk about the premiere of the Blacklist as it aired, but then I thought, okay, this seems more like a 2-hour premiere. I'm going to talk about it when it's all over, after the Louis T. Steinhardt conclusion episode. There were a few good things about these two episodes, a couple of bad things, I gotta say, a couple of bad twists that I did not really like, and I'm gonna talk about them in detail over the course of this video, but nonetheless, welcome back to another one of my The Blacklist videos, and what I consider a 2-hour premiere for the new season. Now, there are two main highlights to these two episodes, the first of which is that the title of the second episode, Louis T. Steinhardt, Conclusion. That was not really how we felt about this episode. It was not a conclusion. It was a conclusion to these two episodes, the story of these two episodes, but it most definitely wasn't the conclusion to the story of Louis T. Steinhardt the way we're used to. With Berlin, he was dead by the end. With Mr. Kaplan, she was dead by the end. With the director, it was the same. Ian Garvey, you name it, you've got it. Every single one that had a conclusion episode ended up either captured or dead by the end of the episode. But this was a different case, a master of illusion managing to fake a suicide, managing to disappear in thin air. Love the ghost part, the G host, that was really good as well, but nonetheless, this is not the end of it. I mean, Raymond Reddington as well does make it clear this is not the end when it comes to Louis Steinhardt. He does make it clear, if we ever meet again, if we ever cross paths, I'm gonna make sure I put a retainer on this guy. So yeah, we're most probably gonna see this guy again. I mean, Raymond Reddington does not usually let go of things that happen to him, bad things, by bad people. He does not let that sort of stuff go. But the other thing I did state at the very beginning of this video, there were two major highlights, is the fact that we got solid confirmation, in my opinion, in the opinion of anyone who doesn't want to be stubborn on that little bit, that Katarina is not Red and Red is not Katarina. That theory is by now completely out of the window. Let's see why. First and foremost, on the second hour of this two-parter, we've got a conversation that is as private as it gets when it comes to conversations in general, and here we have got Katarina stating that Dom promised her no one would get hurt, that he loved his child and just wanted her to be safe. And then she asks Red, "Do I seem safe to you?" So unless the series is planning a little bit of a soap opera silly twist, Katarina is definitely not Red. That woman that we're watching on the series at the moment, that's most definitely Katarina. The soap opera twist, the silly twist in this case would be something like, oh, we were just playing you, this chick is actually Katarina's sister, oh, she had a sister. But yeah though, every statement that Dom makes, that Katarina makes, that Red makes, points us in one direction and only one direction. Actually, let me rephrase that, it does not just point us in that direction, it actually confirms that this woman, the woman we're seeing at the moment portraying Katarina Rostova, is indeed Katarina Rostova, the real deal. Now when I used the word highlights at the very beginning of this video, I was talking about highlights in terms of things that we know by the end of these two episodes. So we know that Louis T. Steinhardt is most probably gonna make it back on the series, and we know as well that Katarina Rostova is indeed Katarina Rostova. The Raymond is Katarina thing is off the table at the moment. But there are also highlights in terms of events, the biggest of which was at the very end of the second episode of the 2 hours, which is basically all about the family reunion at the end. That neighbor of Lizzie's, Maddie, Katarina Rostova, masquerading as Maddie, the meeting with Agnes, the other confirmation there that she is indeed Katarina. Agnes tells her that she's pretty and she responds, "Thank you, sweetie, so are you. You remind me of my granddaughter." So yeah, she's pretty much talking about that very granddaughter standing right before her eyes. But once again though, that's just one of many highlights. The other one I can think of over here is all about the change in attitude when it comes to Liz towards Raymond Reddington in this case. Because Liz does change her way of thinking of Raymond, the way she views Raymond, and she does explain it very clearly on the very first hour of these 2 hours. Liz finds a way to explain why she's always felt such a pain when it comes to dealing with Raymond Reddington. When she thought he was her father, she felt he abandoned her, so abandonment issues, now it feels different. This is just a friend of her mother, yet he cared enough to dedicate half of his life to taking care of her. However though, that was not without a twist, because the abandonment issues do come to light, do surface on the second hour of this two-parter. She talks about Katarina Rostova. She does state, apparently she's not the maternal type. So yeah, the abandonment issues are still there, just not directed at Raymond Reddington, but they are now directed at Katarina Rostova. In my opinion, it's good news. We're not going to be complaining about her bitching and complaining and being an absolute bitch towards Raymond Reddington throughout the course of this season, but she's rather going to channel all this bitching and complaining towards Katarina Rostova, which might be in place and might not be, so we're going to find that out over the course of this season. After all, Katarina Rostova does give this evil vibe, but in the end she did state she did want her family, she does want her family back, she hates Raymond Reddington for it, and thinks he has something to do with whatever happened to her. You know, the whole Belgrade situation. Speaking though of the Belgrade situation, that's a new mystery, something that we do not know the details of, but it is probably something that's going to come up a lot on future episodes. We're going to find out a lot about that Belgrade situation sooner or later, and probably in some flashbacks. Now, beside the major question that all of us have, you know, what happened in Belgrade, I'm thinking another question. How is there a Belgrade after they made an escape out of Russia? We did watch that last season. You know, they planned to escape Russia, her and Ilya Koslov, and probably her father. Why does this not fit with the last time that they described they saw Katarina Rostova, you know, leaving them? It was not Belgrade, it has got nothing to do with Belgrade. That's the story that we got last season. Did she ever make it back from that mission, or whatever you want to call it, and ended up having to leave Lizzie behind because that was the only way to protect her? I mean, that's a possibility. She made a return from something huge, but she was uncovered. People knew who she was, started hunting her, and that was the reason she decided, okay, I gotta disappear. In order to protect both of us, me and Masha, in order to survive this, both me and Masha, I'm just gonna play dead. I'm gonna vanish into thin air. But moving on though, Frankie was one of my favorite twists on this episode, aka Francesca. Now Francesca helped Raymond because she was forced to. That was during the first hour of the 2 hours. He was holding her at gunpoint, so that was understandable. Then she helps him escape because she was ordered by Katarina to do so, so that's also understandable. But then finally she ends up helping him when she's got no reason to, except for this enlightening conversation that she had with Dembe. You know, he is a good guy, he is a decent guy, she does feel it as well, and she doesn't want to do the wrong thing there. But let us not forget that there's a lot of foreshadowing going on, very decent foreshadowing as well, because that was foreshadowed on the first hour, even before she helped Raymond Reddington the very first time around. You know, she was interested in Red, his character, his sense of humor. He was giving Louis T. Steinhardt shit, you know, when he was playing the detective, but she was there, just smiling, a little bit laughing as well. But here, though, is the final highlight before we talk, you know, stray points about the episode in general, and that's all about Elizabeth Keane hitting again, once more. She's the one who brought all of this upon everyone's heads, asking about Katarina, her stubbornness over the course of last season. That's all what brought this into play. The old ghost that Raymond refers to over here is of course Katarina. She raised an old ghost. She brought Katarina back into play. And Katarina might care about her family over here, but revenge, vengeance, these are the things on top of her list. Those people that she thinks did wrong her, those people that she thinks are chasing her, these are the ones that she wants to take down at the moment. Family comes second. Her own survival seems to be the most important thing to her at this moment. I wouldn't be surprised if she, you know, lets go of everything. Lets go of Masha, lets go of her granddaughter in order to save her own skin. But okay though, there are two things that are kind of silly on this episode that I'm going to talk about before I talk final stray comments about this episode. The first one is, I suppose, the twist with Francesca was kind of a little bit silly. You know, succeeding with the surgery with Dom, that was really silly. I mean, in the end, she does not have the experience, she is a nurse, but I suppose as well what they did over there was try to bring her in the circle of Reds. Like he mentioned at the very end, you would be dead by now if not for what you did for Dom. So yeah, they didn't want to break the rules that Red has set over the course of so many seasons, but at the same time, they wanted to keep her around, so they decided to play this twist. The other silly twist on this episode is Dembe picks up the phone and he realizes it's Red on the other end of the line. He does not even listen for a moment. Just picks up the phone, responds right away, and it's Scooby-Dooby-Doo, where are you? So yeah, there's a little bit of silliness there, but it's not really a bad twist. It's not really something huge, something major, but I gotta mention it real quick over here. But speaking of those final stray comments, one, I did love that action-packed scene at Dom's house. A bit surprised that Katarina was willing to attack her dad to full force, but she might just not be as familial as she tries to seem to be. So Liz was possibly right on the money on that one. But there's also two. Louis Steinhil. I do like every bit of that Blacklist story. I mean, he's really good at what he does. He's the one that led Katarina to Dom's house. She did claim she knew where it was, but she didn't. They just wanted to convince Red to go there in order to figure out where he would go, and he just fell for it. 3. I really wonder how Liz did not suspect for a moment that neighbor, what's this neighbor after? Who's this neighbor? Because at this moment, Katarina is in play, her mother is out there. What if this woman is her mother? What if this woman is part of that gang that kidnapped Raymond Reddington? Because she doesn't know at the moment that it's Katarina. She suspected it was Katarina, but then Raymond and everyone else is not giving her enough to go on. But she should suspect this weird person, this old person that's standing right before her eyes. Also, on another note, here's a little bit of a silly twist. Every single person that Lizzie interrogated during the first of the 2 hours did refer to Katarina as the Russian. The funny thing is, she did not speak a single Russian word. These people should not know that she is a Russian. But more importantly, this woman does not sound like a Russian. She does sound more like an American than anything else. Liz would have noticed that she is a Russian when she did meet her in the hallway. At the very end of the second hour, Louis Steinhil did hire these people for this job. He probably did not give them all the juice, all the secrets on who this woman is, so there's no chance in hell they knew she was a Russian. That was one more bit of a plot device, to plant that feeling within Liz, that doubt that her mother is most definitely alive, most probably alive at least. But finally, number 4, on the first hour of these 2 hours, Liz does let it out, the entire secret. This guy is not Raymond Reddington, this guy is Ilya Koslov. Something that I tell you is not 100% confirmed at the moment. There are still chances that he's someone else. There are still chances, in my opinion, that he is the real deal, the real Raymond Reddington. But nonetheless, he is Ilya Koslov. She lets it out. And now there's the danger that at some point someone is going to find out about Ilya Koslov. Raymond Reddington is not who he is or who you think he is. But that having been said though, my work here is done, so let me know in the comments down below what you thought of these 2 episodes. Let me know what you think is going on with Katarina. What is she after? Does she really still care about Liz? Is all of this to reunite with her family, or is all of this all about revenge? Let me know as well if you did like this video by dropping it a much appreciated like, subscribing to my channel, and make sure while you're at it to enable notifications in order to get updates whenever I upload a new video, publish a new community post, or start a new live stream. But until the next time that you tune in for another one of my videos, The Blacklist or otherwise, thank you so much for tuning in to this video and have a great day.